Good afternoon to everyone. Today I'm talking about psychodermatology. Psychodermatology or psychocutaneous medicine is a sub-branch of dermatology which deals with skin and psychiatry. We all know that skin and the nervous system are derived from same embryological germ cell layer, that is ectoderm. So whenever there is skin affected, it shows effect on nervous system and vice versa. And even psychodermatology has various sub-branches like sports psychodermatology, environmental psychodermatology, tropical psychodermatology, and geriatric psychodermatology. Uh, I will discuss this topic in two parts. First part deals with various disorders of psychiatry and psychodermatology, and second part deals with the various pharmacological and non-pharmacological approaches. Approximately 30 to 40% of the patients seeking treatment for skin disorders have an underlying psychiatric or psychological burden that either causes or exacerbates a skin complaint. As a dermatologist, we should have a clear idea about what are primary psychiatric disorders, secondary psychiatric disorders, and physiological states which affects our skin diseases. And we also want to know the various non-pharmacological therapies and non-pharmacological therapies which are used to treat our patients. The main pathogens is involved is epigenetics. Epigenetics means outside the gene level. These are the modification that happens that outside the gene level, like DNA methylation, histone modification, and microRNA dysregulation. And environmental factors and drugs and chemicals also affect the pathogenesis in psychiatric diseases. This is a picture showing stress responses. There are two types of stress responses. There are central stress response and peripheral skin stress response. Whenever there is a stress in our body, hypothalamus pituitary axis is activated, and there was secretion of corticotropin releasing hormone from hypothalamus, which acts on anterior pituitary. From anterior pituitary, ACTH is released, and ACTH acts on the adrenal gland. From the adrenal gland, there was a release of catecholamines and glucocorticoids. These glucocorticoids, which activate skin cell mast cell activation, this suppresses TH immune response, and there was upregulation of TH2 immune response due to because mast cells have different cytokines like IL-4, IL-13, which activates the TH2 immune response. We all know that TH2 immune response is the main pathogenic phenomenon in atopic dermatitis and many allergic skin diseases. It was fascinating that even fibroblasts and appendageal cells, hair cells, keratinocytes, even secrete catecholamines and glucocorticoids whenever there was stress response. So hence there was a central skin response, and there was central CNS response, and there was peripheral skin response whenever there is a stress. Classification, there are three types of psychodermatological disorders. Psychophysiological disorders in which the patient physiological state affects the disease. Like whenever there is a stress, there was an aggravation of disease. I will tell the examples in later slides. And primary psychiatric diseases where there was a primary factor is psychiatric involvement, and secondary psychiatric diseases where these are the diseases which are secondary to our skin diseases, like psoriasis causing depression, vitiligo causing social stigma, leprosy causing social stigma, like that. Coming to the first topic, psychophysiological disorders. These are the skin disease affected by the psychological state of a patient. Most common examples are after stomatitis. We all know that whenever there was an exam, so there are many patients will come to us complaining of after ulcers, which is the most common example of it. And another thing is this called cold blisters. Whenever there is stress, there was a aggravation of herpes simplex infection, and there was many skin diseases like hyperhidrosis, atopic dermatitis, and chronic telogen effluvium will be aggravated by the psychological state of the patient. We also had a common complaint that whenever the patient has a stress, there was aggravation of acne, and there was aggravation of hair loss. So these are the group of disorders, percentage of patients which told that the stress is the main factor. Among them, psoriasis is majorly exacerbated with stress. Other diseases like acne, alopecia areata, rosacea, urticaria, palmopelix, and vitiligo vulgaris. Actually, these patients have a good insight. Whenever we talk about psychiatric diseases, we talk about it in the sense of insight. Insight means patient knows that he had disease. In many psychiatric diseases, this is lost. Hence, patient unable to understand our counseling techniques. In that case, only antipsychotics will enact. When compared to this physiological state, there was a good insight into the diseases. Patient know that they had a disease. Patient know that they had stress. These are the diseases somewhat easy to treat whenever the local skin conditions are cured. Most of the psychiatric conditions are cured. In severe cases, we can use benzodiazepines and SSRIs. In non-responders, we can psychiatric referral may be required. Primary psychiatric disorders. Here, the primary pathology in the psychiatric and the skin complaints are self-induced or secondary. We play an important role in these disorders as skin is the first visual, so that there was many self-inflicting injuries, which helps in diagnosis of these psychiatric diseases. These patients often have an underlying psychological functional problems such as delusions, obsessive compulsive disorders, anxiety, depression, and personality disorder, which is essential to be identified and managed accordingly. In addition, supportive skin therapy must be given. This is the list of primary psychiatric disorders. Disorder of body awareness, like body dysmorphic disorder. In this patient complains of he has large nose, large lips. Even though there was no hair loss, even patient complains of there is a hair loss. In this condition, we have to counsel the patient. These are the painful patients while taking to the procedures. These are the one of the relative contraindication for the procedure when the patient having body dysmorphic disorder, anorexia nervosa, impulse control disorders like trichotillomania, neurotic excoriations, acne excoria, which is a part of neurotic excoriation, neurodermatitis, onychotillomania, prurigo nodularis, fastidious skin diseases like where patients self-inflict injuries, like dermatitis activata, dermatitis simulata, and dermatitis passivata. Psychogenic pruritus, cutaneous phobias like whenever there is any skin change, they think it is a malignancy and come to us. Some patients, whenever we prescribe them steroids, they will search in net and why you are giving steroids to us. There's steroidophobia, venerophobia, what phobia, atypical pain disorders. These are the pain disorders, otherwise called as a somatosymptomatic disorders. In this patient, the patient has a underlying anxiety and a psychological stress, which manifests as several somatic symptoms like glossodynia, vulvodynia, sclerodynia, and anodynia. Coming to the delusion of parasitosis, it is the most common disorder in a delusion category. It is a rare disorder. Most common subtype of delusional disorder. The patient develops an impervious delusional belief that their bodies are infested with parasites. The underlying psychiatric problem is a monosymptomatic hypochondrial psychosis. Characteristic are a female of middle-aged, presenting in anxious and overwhelmed state after having visited several doctors without satisfaction. These patients narrates about visual and tactile hallucinations of the parasites crawling, burrowing, and biting all over the body. Excoriations may be produced. These are the delusion of parasitosis are divided into 3 types. It may be of a primary as a sole manifestation of psychiatric disease, or it may be of organic disease like alcohol abuse, cocaine abuse, and it was secondary to some psychiatric disease like schizophrenia. In my UG days, I have seen the case of delusional parasitis, which the patient was diagnosed with schizophrenia later. At the outset, actual infestation must be ruled out first. Immediately we don't want to confront about the situation. Initially it takes 2 to 3 visits for the counseling. As adult to differential diagnosis like schizophrenia, psychiatric depression, psychosis episode in maniac patient, formication without delusion. The attendants and family of the patient should be counseled regarding the patient illness. There was another theory that delusional parasitosis will occur in familial conditions. Whenever we came across this case, we have to ask the family history whether similar complaints in the family are there or not. Antipsychotic medication in consultation with psychiatrist before referral. body dysmorphic disorder. This was very important to us whenever we want to take some procedures. We have to want to rule out whatever we can do. These patients, they will say this is not good, that is not good. So in this, the patient is preoccupied with and distressed with an imagined effect in appearance on extensive concern over trivial defect. Underlying comorbid mental disorder, including mood disorders such as depression, OCD, social phobia, and or avoidant personality disorder. In this case, also most patients are females in their 30s. These patients are rich in symptoms while poor in signs of organic skin disease. Women present with complaint related to mainly face, breast, hair, nose, and stomach, while men present with concern related to hair, nose, ear, genitals, and body wool. They repeatedly undergo procedures to find solution to the flaws, and majority are dissatisfied with results and consultation. Suicidal ideation and suicide attempts are common in body dysmorphic disorder patients. There are two types of body dysmorphic patients, those with insight and those without insight. Management of patients with insight are very easy. Whenever we tell to them it is trivial part, they will understand us. Without insight, the BDD without insight is very difficult to treat. We often need psychiatric referral and antipsychotic medication. Coming to the impulse control disorders, trichotillomania. Trichotillomania literally means morbid craving or impulsivity to pull out hairs. There was some criteria suggested for DSM-4 criteria, that is Diagnostic Statistic Manual of Psychiatry. 4 diagnostic suggested for TMR: recurrent pulling out of one's own hair resulting in hair loss, an increased sense of tension immediately before or pulling out of hair. There was pleasure, gratification, and there was a disturbance provokes clinically marked distress and or impairment in occupational, social, or other areas of function. Again, trichotillomania is of two types, automatic and focused. Automatic is whenever they were watching whenever they was watching TV, they automatically pull the hair. They don't know they're pulling the hair. It was actual habit to them. In other case, whenever there is a stress, some people are pull out hair. It is called as focused trichotillomania. Trichotillomania shows bimodal distribution. Bimodal distribution. When compared to children, it is more common in males. When in adults, it is more common in females. Hair plucking is most common from the scalp, rarely from eyebrows, eyelashes, pubic hair, and torso hair. Hair loss may be minimal to extensive. Typically, hairs are short, broken, irregular in length, distorted, and feel like a stubble. This is the picture showing irregular, bizarre pattern of hair loss without any pattern of hair loss. But trichotillomania is an exclusion of diagnosis. We have to rule out alopecia areata, tinea capitis, and all other conditions before labeling the diagnosis as trichotillomania. In this case, we can use dermoscopy where it shows perifollicular hemorrhage, broken hairs of different lengths. There was a tulip hair, there was V sign. Diagnosis is primary clinical, but we can use dermoscopy. There will be normally growing hairs amongst empty anagen hair follicles and non-inflamed dermis. Trichomalacia is distorted and curled hair bulb, bizarre fractured hair shows, pigment casts, and perifollicular hematoma are fairly specific for trichotillomania. Management of these cases is directed by the age of the patient. Childhood cases of good prognosis, identification of the stressor, parent education, behavior modification, help preschoolers to eventually grow out of this condition. In adolescents and young adults, unaware of their hair pulling information, awareness of the diagnosis helps in pursuing them to seek a psychiatric. In adolescent age, it is difficult to treat, and often we need psychiatric referral and behavioral therapy to treat the trichotillomania. Neurotic excoriations or pathological skin picking is characterized by an unfounded, untamable urge to scratch the skin, accompanied by the visible tissue damage and functional impairment. There is female preponderance, and average age of onset varies between 30 and 50 years. The exact pathophysiology is elusive. However, psychosocial stress precedes exacerbation. There is compulsive activity and is associated with psychological comorbidity, commonly is depression. The picking can target real blemishes or imaginary flaws. Patient pick at areas until they can pull material out of the skin, also referred as pulling a thread from the skin. Patient admit to an urge to pick. In this neurotic excoriation, patient has a good insight. He will admit to us he deliberately picking his skin. In this case, we have to differentiate from dermatitis artifacta. Dermatitis artifacta, there was a loss of insight. Patient don't know he was self-inflicting injuries. The lesions are polymorphic. Prurigo nodular is an extreme variant of this entity. Neurotic excoriations should be differentiated from dermatitis artifacta by its conscious and compulsive nature. Acne excoriae is a variant of neurotic excoriation. These people include body dysmorphic disorder, depression, anxiety, obsessive compulsive disorder, delusional disorder, personality disorder, and social phobias. If the patient has concomitant acne, aggressive treatment with systemic antibiotic or systemic retinoids must be considered. Rest of the treatment is on the lines of the treatment of neurotic excoriation. The picture showing severe excoriations of the acne. Coming to the fastidious skin disorder, there are 4 groups: dermatitis artifacta syndrome and unconscious dissociated self-injury, dermatitis para-artifacta syndrome, where disorders of impulse control often has a manipulation of an existing self-specific dermatosis, and malingering, consciously stimulated injuries and diseases to obtain material gain. Special forms such as Gardner-Diamond syndrome, Munchausen syndrome by proxy syndrome. Dermatitis artifacta is a skin disease caused by deliberate action of a fully aware patient on skin, hair, nails, or the mucosa. There were DSM-4 criteria for its diagnosis: intentional feigning of physical or psychological signs or symptoms. The motivation is to assume the sick role. External incentives for the behavior such as economic gain, avoiding legal responsibility, or improving physical well-being, as in malingering, are absent. The pathophysiology is poorly understood. It is a multifactorial, including complex. Affected children have anxiety disorder or immaturity of coping styles in response to dysfunctional parent-child relationship, bullying, sexual and substance abuse. Adults may be neurotic, depressed, hysterical, or paranoid personality disorder patients. 2 characteristics of DA are the physical signs and the fabrication. Physical signs, the lesions are polymorphic, bizarre. They are angulated. When the lesions are caused by the chemical burn, there is a sign called drip sign. Punched out necrotic areas are uniform circular bristles or erosions are typical of cigarette burns. When our patient causes edema of its own, it is called secretin syndrome. The other common presentation is chronic non-healing infected wounds. Infectious complications are of serious nature. A patient is unable to provide clear history of evaluation of a lesion. Sometimes a lesion evolves overnight without prior signs and symptoms, which acts as a diagnostic clue to diagnose dermatitis artifacta. In a dermatitis similar, the patient uses external discs to stimulate a disease, and there is no significant damage to the skin. Makeup has been used to stimulate a rash or a birthmark, or a topical printing dyes has been used to produce a discoloration. Yet sometimes the lesion mimics specific dermatosis, where skin biopsy must be considered. Sometimes there are bullous lesions which may resemble exactly to the bullous pemphigoid. In that case, we have to rule out bullous disorder, so you have to go for biopsy. Doctor should avoid immediate confrontation, because when you told that they had a psychiatric disease, these are doing by your own, the patient will be ran away from us. So this can be of counterproductive, and the patient may flee from the treatment. Psychogenic pruritus. Before labeling a patient as psychogenic pruritus, you have to rule out all the psychiatric. You have to rule out all the pruritus conditions like infections, infestations, renal pruritus, hepatic pruritus, and pruritus due to malignancy. Actually, psychogenic pruritus is not an elimination diagnosis. There are certain criteria to diagnose it. It should be chronic pruritus more than 6 weeks. Then there was an absence of somatic cause, and it should be localized or generalized. And 3 additional criteria are from following 7. Pruritus that is improved, the pruritus should be improved by psychotherapy and psychogenic drugs. They should be associated psychological disorders. There should be nocturnal variation. There will be variations of intensity associated with the stress. A chronological relation of pruritus with one or several life events that could have psychological repercussions. It is of 3 types: compulsive type, impulsive type, and mixed type. In a compulsive type, skin excoriation performed to avoid an anxiety. In impulsive type, skin excoriations linked with erosional pressure or reduction of tension. In mixed type, both compulsive and impulsive features are present. Pruritic episodes are unpredictable. In this condition, people or some others refer to as the brain that itches, not the patient that itches. Uh, Psychogenic pruritus can be generalized or localized. The sites of predilection are leg, arms, back, and genitals. Often there is history of major psychological stress preceding this event. These are the other primary psychiatric disorders which are not very important to us. Anorexia nervosa, we have a skin sign called Russell sign, where there was excoriations over the knuckles, which is very important, helps in diagnosis. In this case, we won't treat, we refer to the psychiatrist. Neurodermatitis, there were new X-crash cycles, prurigo nodularis like thing. In onychotelomania, it is most commonly seen in children. Treatment same as trichotillomania, like a behavioral therapy, cognitive behavioral therapy, aversion therapy. In dermatitis passivata, self-neglect or patient or paranoid or mood disorder. There were some cutaneous phobias and atypical chronic pain or burn syndromes like burning mouth syndrome, vulvodynia, scalp dysesthesia. In this condition, SNRIs can be used. In SNRIs, duloxetine and venlafaxine is the most common drugs that are used. Dissociative somatization. Somatization means patient has another disorders like anxiety or depression, and that depression will be manifest as various clinical symptoms like GA symptoms, cutaneous symptoms, neurological symptoms. Actually, they do doctor shopping, and they will go to every doctor and tell they have multiple symptoms. Whenever we go to them history, there was some disturbance in the family, there was some depression component and anxiety component. Self-induced dermatitis as a dermatitis artifact and trichotillomania are associated with dissociative states and PDD when the patient has somatic preoccupation involving the skin and hair. These patients are more responsive to active non-pharmacological treatments such as exercise and psychotherapy as compared with pharmacological treatment. Psychiatric referral consultation should be attempted whenever feasible. Secondary psychiatric disorders, we know that every skin diseases will have some manifestation as it is visible to everyone. It causes low self-esteem, embarrassment, depression, anxiety, suicidal ideation. Many patients are able to cope up with the disease while few develop secondary psychiatric morbidity. Alcohol abuse is more common in psoriasis patients. Psychiatric morbidity rates are 33.60% and 24.7% for vitiligo and psoriasis respectively. If the dermatologist suspects significant secondary psychological morbidity, then interrogation, counseling, and psychiatric referral should be sought. Management of psychocutaneous patients. Many psychocutaneous patients will have anxiety, depression, or psychosis or OCD. Whenever there was an anxiety component, we use drugs like benzodiazepines. In benzodiazepines, we most commonly use alprazolam and clonazepam. Actually, these drugs have a high addiction potential. If you want to give long term, there are some things like serotonin inhibitors like buspirone drugs. In severe cases, in anxiety, we can even use selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors like citalopram, escitalopram, and paroxetine. In many cases like exam anxiety, we can use propranolol in a dose of 10 mg to 20 mg. This is the group of drugs which are used for the anti-anxiety, benzodiazepines, buspirone, propranolol, hydroxyzine, gabapentin, pregabalin. Whenever there was a depression, we have a group of drugs called antidepressants. And in antidepressants, there are three types: SSRIs, like selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor, SNRIs, selective norepinephrine inhibitor, and monoamine oxidase inhibitor, MAO inhibitors. In this depression, what happens is there was a decrease in monoamines like serotonin, dopamine, norepinephrine. So the person was more prone to depression. So we made more availability of these monoamines. so that depression will be reduced. SSRIs, escitalopram, paroxetine, fluoxetine. SNRIs like a venlafaxine, duloxetine, mirtazapine. Actually, as a dermatologist, we should have start antidepressants at a very low dose and gradually increase our dose. We actually don't go beyond any 50 mg of dose of any drug. Other group of drugs like other antidepressants like tricyclic antidepressants like amitriptyline, imipramine, and doxepin. Doxepin we commonly use in many pruritic conditions. Starts with 25 mg at bedtime and titrate to 75 mg daily. Antipsychotics, I already told we have only very limited conditions which need antipsychotics whenever the disease is severe, or we have two conditions like we have two conditions of a delusion disorder which required antipsychotics, delusion of parasitosis and dermatitis artifacta. In these both conditions and when it's severe any psychiatric disease, we can prefer antipsychotics. Antipsychotics are of two types. Typical antipsychotics and atypical antipsychotics. The typical antipsychotics acts by D2 blocker. Whenever there was an increase in psychosis, many authors will say that there was an increase in dopamine. So we block the dopamine in psychotic diseases. In a first, typical antipsychotics will block the D2 receptors, so that psychosis component is reduced. But typical antipsychotics have a side effects of extrapyramidal side effects. To combat this, we can use the first generation antihistaminics like promethazine should be administered with. And nowadays we are not using first generation unless a typical antipsychotics, unless it is unless we require immediate action. Nowadays we are using typical antipsychotics which blocks D4 receptors, which do not have an extrapyramidal side effects. Atypical antipsychotics examples are quetiapine, risperidone, olanzapine, risperidone, olanzapine, aripiprazole, prostacyclin. Coming to the non-pharmacological treatment, we have a biofeedback treatment, we have cognitive behavioral therapy, we have hypnosis. Biofeedback is used in hyperhidrosis, Raynaud's phenomena, psoriasis, atopic dermatitis, lichen planus, urticaria, post-herpetic neuralgia. In this biofeedback, we train the patients to control their sympathetic activity like blood flow, pulse rate, so that patient has a control in its disease. We have several techniques like meditation, yoga. Some picture treatment is also given in biofeedback. In cognitive behavioral therapy, we can give the patient of a goal-directed tasks so that patient will adapt to this. Whenever that does not work out, we can modify to other treatment. It takes a long time, but it is an important adjunctive therapy to the drugs. Hypnosis is an intentional induction of a deep focused state. Hypnosis is used in some conditions like pain, pruritus, and dysesthesia. Hypnosis may improve or clear many skin diseases. In conclusion, we need to broaden our conception of psychocutaneous medicine. We have to habituate to giving psychotic medication. Whenever there is needed, we have to refer the patient to the psychiatry. It is better to conduct psychodermatology clinics every week to counsel these patients. It is the picture selected for a mental health image category. Actually, it was taken by the Benji Reid, a Manchester, United Kingdom-based photographer living with depression and post-traumatic stress disorder. He captured a powerful shot of himself as an astronaut either to his doctor while she sat playing on her phone to convey the strength of their father-daughter relationship and how she is a pillar of stability and discomfort. This picture image shows that in many psychiatric diseases, family support is the most plays a crucial role. He in this case he was a depressed patient. He was helped by her daughter very much. We have something called the Psychodermatological Association of India. Abdul Latif sir, very famous. He was a president of it. Sir was also a member of European Psychodermatology. This is some pictures. This is the picture of somatic disorder where patient has several neurotic excoriations, but interscapular region is preferred in a shape of butterfly. It is called as a butterfly sign. I came across this interesting fact. Whenever there is some carbon, canneries previously used to warn coal miners of carbon monoxide, as they would stop whistling in the presence of even small CO levels. There was some disorder called as multiple chemical sensitivities, where the patient told whenever he will go outside, he has some pruritus and come to us. Actually, these are the patients who well read about that environmental pollutants. They're more concerned about the pollutants. So in this case, we have to make cognitive behavioral therapy and counseling should be done. Actually, this is a case of psoriasis treated with. Just I'm giving examples to understand the topic. This is a case of psoriasis, completely resolved lesions over palms and soles treated with acitretin. But the patient in this case was complaining of severe pruritus. When going to the history, the patient told that she had a severe depression. The depression is manifested in the form of severe pruritus. In this condition, we often use antipsychotic medication and antidepressant medication will cure the pruritus rather than using antihistaminic medication. This is the most commonly we can see many of the patients will bring hair in the covers. Actually, they do not have a much of hair loss, and there was an anagen-telogen ratio normal, dermoscopic features were normal. But these patients have a body type of body dysmorphic disorders, which causing psychological distress to the patient. Thank you.
Okay, good, very good, very nice presentation.